Hello, and welcome back to our second week of our single year perfection challenge. I figured it'd probably be a good start to kind of go over what we accomplished last time, what our general spring goals were, our new weekly goals, and then we'll get into our daily goals. So, as far as last week went, we only really failed in a couple of goals, which were 80 in the mines and the burglar's ring. So we're going to make that a focus this week, pretty early on, basically whenever luck allows. And I know I'm kind of zipping through menus and stuff here, but I'll go back to it and touch on that. I just wanted to kind of refresh what we're trying to do for all of spring. And the main leftover things are getting level 10 farming, the vault and caverns, all the sprinklers, some money, and the barn and the coop. And we'll, get a little more into detail of that later on, as usual. But as far as the week goes, we obviously need to finish our bulletin board quest, get that burglar's ring, unlock the bus, finish off the mines so we can actually go into the caverns, try to get farming level 2 so we can get sprinklers rolling, which should be pretty easy, hit the egg festival, and upgrade our axe as well, which I think is actually, that's what we're gonna do. Anyway, so we'll have to kind of backtrack a little bit because this video happens a little faster than I can talk, but I got the prismatic jelly quest, so I basically just reset floor 5 over and over and over again until I saw the prismatic jelly. And on this particular reset, it didn't take very long, which is why I obviously used this save. And that was like our biggest thing to get done today, so that we'll have Monster Musk and make all the other monster eradication goals super easy, as well as farming Void Essence and things like that. So those two first items on our to-do list are already done. And we are getting our Bat Cave right now, which we will need for apples and a pomegranate. And the rest of the day is pretty much going to be spent fishing for catfish and doing a little bit of gifting here and there. And earlier in the day, I sold a few catfish, so we'd have $5,000 tomorrow to upgrade our axe. And that kind of outlines the week and gets rid of all the more like clerical talk, I guess. And we can look at what we're up to for the day. I will generally be kind of crafting random stuff along the way. Like I crafted a bug steak just now, mostly because I know I'll have to eventually, but also because, I don't know, I might as well do it while I'm thinking about it. And I guess there's our 5,000 right there. We actually didn't need to ship any catfish, so that's kind of an oversight. But anyway, that was our good excuse to visit the wizard. He's really out of the way, and so gifting him is kind of a pain. And we want to get him to like 6 hearts before winter, so he's not like too much of a rush, but he is somebody that we have to like not forget about, because it's pretty important. Gifting is going to be a really big problem in this run. It's the main detractor from making money. That and festivals, I guess. Those two things team up to be overall pretty awful. And I'm also planting a few more crops just because once we get sprinklers in the next couple of days, we won't have to worry about watering anymore. I think I started doing that last week, but either way, it's kind of where we're at. And then I spent a little bit of time just continuing to smelt stuff. I'm going to pretty much always be smelting things, no matter what. It's the only way I can stay ahead of things. We'll constantly need iron, constantly need copper, and iridium. Those three things we're going to need all the time. And so I'll pretty much always have to be smelting at least something. And we'll eventually need a ton of furnaces. Like right now it's not that big of a deal, but we will need it. And yeah, so anyway, we're into day 9. And so that means we have a lot of watering to do, which is kind of a bummer. But we are going to use that monster musk today so we can farm the rest of our dust sprites, as well as upgrade our axe that we were talking about yesterday. We're going to do a museum run as well, and we'll start thinking about our gold crops, which we need to do parsnips. So we'll plant about 8 parsnips with quality fertilizer, and then as they mature, we will selectively harvest them based on which ones will give us gold for that day. And I'll explain that more once we get to the harvesting part of that. And so the monster musk, I don't know if I would have necessarily restarted or picked a different seed if we didn't get monster musk early, but it is one of the most beneficial early perfection items you can get, just because it speeds everything up so much as far as farming monster drops. So it's really fortunate that we ended up getting that, because that's one of the only things I don't know about this save file. I don't know what the random quest boards will be, and that's one of the few RNG aspects that can really damage the run. If we don't get good quest board objectives, and by quest board I'm talking about the special orders, like the wizard one we just did. I'm not talking about the little daily quests. I don't care about those at all. But yeah, if we don't get the correct quests, or if we fail to complete them, it's gonna maybe potentially cause our run to fail. And hopefully that's not the case, but I don't know, as long as I remember to do them, we will be in good shape. Hopefully. But anyway, yeah, so I'm buying, I don't know if I included it in the notes, but I also am buying a lot of kale seeds. After we get level 2 farming, we need to plant something like 160 kale, or, a bunch of kale and an assortment of other plants, so that we can reach farming level 6 in time to grow a bunch more kale to reach farming level 10 before spring is over. And I don't know, hopefully we can make that happen. It'll be relatively tight, but it should be okay. We'll have something around 26 sprinklers, and that's more than enough to grow all of our kale, as well as maybe some coffee and some other assorted things. And then yeah, we're just diving right into the mines. We only have probably half of our goal left for dust sprites, and I'm just going to speed it up, and then I'll cut most of this out because it's just me resetting a couple floors over and over again, and then stabbing a bunch of dust sprites to death. So that's what I did pretty much the whole day, because that's what I needed to do in order to get the burglar's ring and make our next money strategy viable, which is the void essence farming. Without the burglar's ring, theoretically you could do the void essence farming. It would just take a lot longer, and it might delay our progress a little bit too much. We really want to get into the Skull Caverns, ideally by the end of the week, or on the 15th, I guess, so that we can start getting the money. We need a ton of money, and the earlier we can start snowballing, the better. And we also leveled up our combat. It doesn't really matter, but I always choose the crit one that leads to the reduced cooldown on charge moves, or on special moves, whatever they call them. Anyway, today, so we're going to get into the void essence farming I was talking about. So we'll use another monster musk, and start grinding towards that vault money. We want to aim towards around 95 in the mines, just so that we can reset floor 85 and 95 over and over again. We'll probably also reset floor 45, 55, and 65 too, just to check for diamonds, so that we can diamond farm while we also void essence farm. And if that sounds, or if you don't know what that is, it's basically the same thing as the geode farming or the dust sprite farming I was doing earlier, which is where you're basically just resetting the floor, looking for large concentrations of enemies or a diamond node, and then you just run over, mine that, or kill dust sprites or whatever, and then go back up the elevator and keep checking all the floors over and over again while pausing in between. And by doing that, you can kind of min-max your amount of, not really steps taken, but energy used and kind of steps taken, so that you're not wasting a bunch of time going between floors. And yeah, that's what we did for a good chunk of the day. I would say like 70% of today. That's what we did. So again, Monster Musk is pretty important for this. And I don't remember if those quest boards are seeded or not. I could find out, but I just don't know. But like a floor like this is okay. There's a bit too many slimes that might slow you down. But you're looking for something similar to that, like a big chunk of enemies that you can hit and kill super fast. But yeah, it's just this. I left in a little bit of the elevator dinging so you can see kind of what I'm trying to do. But overall, it's very tedious. It is pretty uninteresting, but it's super efficient. I got 184 void essence and 68 solar essence, which are worth 50 gold and 40 gold each respectively. So that is a pretty big chunk of change, and we should only have to do this for maybe 2 or 3 days before we have enough money to unlock the vault, which is $42,500, I believe. And along the way we'll also get like some of the dwarf scrolls we need, and just as other assorted like little goodies, but nothing too crazy. I also took today to kind of clean some of my chests out a little bit. We kind of amass a bunch of stuff in weird locations, and I wanted to sort of consolidate everything and then get as much sold as possible so we can sort of see where we're at when it comes to money. So I can sell all the catfish, I can sell all the void essence and solar essence, any extra gems, like a couple diamonds, and I'll mostly be saving, well, I'll probably only save around 4 diamonds, so I have a full day of skull caverns, and selling the rest just for money's sake. And we're already sitting at almost 30,000, so probably 1 or 2 more days of farming and we'll be in really good shape. And we just keep getting rain, even though we don't really need it anymore. It'll be helpful, but since we'll have sprinklers tomorrow, it just won't matter. And so, yeah. So today we have harvests. We're going to expand our crop out a little bit more and pick up our axe from Clint's. We also want to start our barn because we need a fully upgraded barn pretty much as soon as possible, just so we can get all our animals mature in time. And then we're also going to get some hardwood today because we have the upgraded axe, as well as void essence farming, like I had mentioned previously. It won't be a full day of it, but hopefully it'll be enough so that we can make the money we need, I guess. And then again, we'll always be smelting as much as possible. We have tons of coal for once, just because of how many dust sprites we've been killing, but we don't have a lot of ore right now, which is kind of not a good thing, because those furnaces really should always be running. But right now we've kind of been a little bit too focused on money rather than materials. So, I don't know. It is what it is. Like, there are certain things you have to kind of put on the back burner sometimes. And while that's probably not the best one to put on the back burner, it's what I chose to do. And then, as far as the hardwood goes, because we're not on the forest farm, which is like a typical choice for a 1-year perfection run, we have to put in a little bit more effort for hardwood. We'll have to go to the secret woods a little bit more often, which in the spring is okay because we need the morel mushrooms anyway, or morel, I guess. Well, I guess we don't because there's 3, and you only need 3 if there's 4. But we also will need to plant the mahogany seeds for hardwood, and we'll just have to be a little more diligent about going out and getting it more frequently because we don't have the 8 stumps that the forest farm has. So it's something to keep in mind if this is something you want to try yourself. Hardwood, which you need to get to Ginger Island early, will be a problem. So just keep that in mind if you're attempting it yourself. And then yeah, back to farming. Like, so this floor, that was a really inefficient floor. I shouldn't have gone all the way over there to kill those 3 voids. I should only grab them when they're like in a situation like this, when they're right next to each other, and I can get back on the elevator within like a 10-minute chunk. And then I decided to water a little bit. I don't know why. I don't really need to. We're on schedule to not have to water today. But I guess I decided I want to water a little bit and then pass out. I don't believe I've mentioned it yet, but I did plant some of the spring forage seeds. And that actually is kind of was a mistake because it's going to impact my farming level. Even though forage is something we really need to get early, so we can eventually make it so we're getting double rolls on our forage and iridium quality forage items. And forage is like notorious for taking forever to level up. So that's why those are planted now. And so yeah, we got our sprinklers rolling today. And that'll save us from wasting a lot of energy and time in the morning. And also make it a lot easier just to get that farming level 6 that we really need in the next week or 2. And today will be our last official day of void farming. We should be able to finish the vault, hopefully we can sell our void farm or void essences directly to the Adventurers Guild and finish the vault today so we have the bus tomorrow. And then we're going to do some gifts, try and finish out our not skull caverns, but our regular mines, and then make sure we have enough money for the bus tomorrow in the event that we get all these things done. That's a mistake I make a lot on my first day of the skull caverns, is I'll make enough money to actually unlock the bus, and then I'll neglect the fact that you have to actually pay for the bus the next day, and I won't be able to go to the caverns. And obviously that's something I couldn't afford to do on this run, so I had to reset a little bit to make that happen, but overall it wasn't too bad. And we'll actually be going to... we got the Savage Ring too, which I actually don't like, and I don't ever use. And that's like a personal preference thing, obviously. But I never ever use that ring. It makes you go faster when you kill something. And for when you're farming stuff, it's great. But otherwise, I don't know. I don't use it. I probably should, but I don't. Anyway, I don't know what I was going to say. Oh yeah, we're going to gift also, like I said. We don't have a ton of loved gifts right now. We have a few people that we can do that are easy, like Leah. And then Pam is like easy parsnip. But everybody's going to at least get, a conversation if they're nearby, because that gives you the 20 points. Or at least a liked gift, because that's worth something. And since I had mentioned, friendship's going to be one of the bigger challenges, I need to make sure I'm at least getting something with everybody, you know. And then the rest of the night, I mean, we could just spend it farming materials once we finish floor 120, or once we finish getting to floor 115 or 120. That was our goal. I kept thinking we were further in, but our only goal right now is to get as deep as we can so that tomorrow, before the bus, we can get the skull key. Otherwise, I can go to the desert, but I can't actually get into the caverns. And the goal, I guess, is basically to have a miniature Skull Caverns run tomorrow. Well, I guess it won't be tomorrow, will it? Because tomorrow is a holiday. It's the Egg Festival. But ideally we would get to go down there, pick up some desert totems, and get a galaxy sword for our first visit. That's always my like really basic minimum requirements for our first visit to the Skull Caverns. And as long as I can get that and maybe a little bit of iridium along the way, I'm happy. And if that's not the case, it's probably one of those situations where I'll just reset. Because I really want to be able to have a more powerful sword. And, you know, obviously if I can't get the totems, I would never keep that day. It wouldn't make any sense. The totems save you like 4 hours or whatever, give you an extra 4 hours in the caverns. So I would never sacrifice that. And, I forgot about the egg hunt, which I always do. Because I normally would never go. It's a waste of time, unless you really like a straw hat. But because they sell strawberries, we have to go. And it's the only way you can get strawberries. As far as I know, you can't even get strawberries from the traveling cart or from the mines or the Skull Caverns, so we have to go. We also need to finish our mines today. We only have like 5 floors left to go. We're gonna get all of our junk out of the mines so we can get rid of that chest. And because it is a festival, we can't do our full dive, but we can at least get the totems and reset level 1 in the Skull Caverns just for like miscellaneous goods, basically. And what we'll do there is a similar strategy to the void farming, dust sprite farming, elevator farming. It's essentially entering and exiting the first floor of the Skull Caverns and destroying crates and breaking up gems that are nearby. And by doing that, you can get extra hardwood, extra emeralds, diamonds, rubies. Sometimes you get a lucky ring if you're really lucky. And that's what we'll do until we have to go to the festival. And then obviously at the festival, we'll talk to everybody because that gives you the extra friendship points. And I don't believe we've actually officially met everybody in the town. And once you finish that meet everybody quest and do the gift quest afterwards, you're awarded a little bit of friendship with everybody in the town. So it's relatively important that we do that. It would have eventually gotten done anyway, but the easiest time to do it is at a festival when everybody's there. And yeah, so I brought all my furnaces home. We'll basically be smelting everything we have on the farm now, which I think is also another like unpopular strategy because it makes more sense to have all of your furnaces at the desert, for example. So like on your way to running into the caverns, you can smelt as you go. So it would be a time saving thing, but I don't know. You don't have to, obviously. It's just like I prefer them at home. That's how I like it. And then it would probably be best to sell our weapons, but I'm not gonna waste any time trying to go to the Adventurers Guild to get a few hundred gold. At this point, a few hundred is not gonna make or break us because we've met all of our immediate money needs. So I just trashed them for space. And then we also have a bunch of diamonds, which is really, really nice, because that will allow us to buy espresso at the desert and also have a little extra money for any upgrades we want to do tomorrow. Like, we'll eventually start upgrading our hoe and our pickaxe a little bit more. And so that'll be another, 17,000 gold there. And yeah, we might as well give Pam a gift because we'll see her pretty frequently. She'll likely be one of the first townspeople that we max out our friendship with. She's really easy to run into because we go to the minecarts a lot. And since we always have a bunch of parsnips, it's also easy just to swing by and give her an easy love. Oh yeah, we're also doing our tree farm. I didn't really mention that, but I know I've said wood is a big problem for us. This is going to slightly mitigate that problem by allowing us to come back here later on and chop down all these random trees. I would normally take time to make it look a little bit nicer, but I honestly don't really care because it doesn't matter. And the trees will grow all the same. Like, the only thing I guess that kind of matters is that the seeds shouldn't be right next to each other because they will stunt each other's growth. Oh, I forgot my rubies. That's unfortunate. I'll have to just use rubies tomorrow morning when we go to the caverns, assuming the luck is good. If luck is not good, we won't go to the caverns. But ideally we'd have at least a pyramid day tomorrow to go into the caverns. And yeah, here we go again, just more of open the door, pause, go back up the ladder. If there's a crate super close by, we'll go smash it. And ideally it'll have something more valuable than stone in it. And if not, whatever, it doesn't really matter. This is just like time we could spend doing anything right now. And for whatever reason, I chose to do this. And then we went down to the festival. I only bought 8 strawberries because while they would make decent money, I need the money a lot faster than they're going to get it to me. So there's no point in buying a ton. And then, like I said, I'm just going to talk to everybody in the town, or at least the people that I haven't met. Yeah, you can see me checking. I haven't met Pierre, and he was our last person. And then I'll do the actual egg hunt, which you don't have to do. I don't know why I did it. You don't need it for perfection. But I think something in the back of my head told me, like, what if you do need it for perfection? And I'm already here, and time isn't ticking, so I might as well do it. But I'm like 99% sure you don't have to do it. So, whatever. Still did it. Got a hat. I'll wear a hat. And then I'll make sure we plant our strawberries tonight. You don't technically have to plant the strawberries tonight in order to get 2 harvests. I think you have another day or 2. But I might as well do it today. And then we also cleared out some of our cave. It probably wasn't a very good use of time to do this, because we could have waited till we had foraging 5 and potentially gotten 2 oranges instead of just the 1. But we did what we did. And then so our last day of the week, the worst possible luck, of course. So we will not be going to the caverns, even though I'm all set up for it in my inventory. So we'll just put all that stuff back, and we'll take care of any other little loose ends we have. We actually have quite a few loose ends. Or we're always going to have little chores, I guess. I guess they're not really loose ends. But we have plenty to do. There's no shortage, so we had to go to the traveling cart anyway today. Oh, we had to go on Friday also. I don't think I mentioned that. Maybe we didn't have to go. Either way, we have to go today. We're going to go to the secret woods. We're going to crush open some geodes just because why not? Do some gifts, and we're going to upgrade our hoe for the first time. as well as run a bunch of junk to the community center. Today we have a large milk, a tomato, a large egg, and a pumpkin from the cart, which are all pretty important items. The tomato not so much, but the egg and the milk are, because it makes it so we don't have to get a cow or a white chicken very early on. And then we're also going to run down to the wizard again to do his weird void essence quest, as well as give him a gift, just because while we're down here, like I said, we might as well take care of the wizard. And then we're chopping more wood. Today would be a good day to catch the wood skip, and I believe that's what we're going to do as well. We only need one wood skip for the community center and for the fishing collection challenge, so we might as well get it done relatively early. I can't stand when this happens. I guess you could probably technically die when a slime is attacking you while fishing, because they'll keep attacking you even when you're in the fishing animation. Luckily that didn't happen. I am a little curious to see what would happen if you die mid-fishing though. Anyway, we got what we needed from the secret woods. It's a new week, so like I said, we're gifting again. I don't know if it's anybody's birthday today, but we're gonna make our rounds. We have some easy love gifts with George. She'll become easier later on down the road once we can give her diamonds more frequently. And then yeah, we got a museum drop off because we have a ton of random junk. And we also have our geodes to crush. A lot of people think that geodes are luck based, but they're not. They're all pre-seeded. They're all predictable. Your geode will always give you what it gives you no matter the luck. And so I just use the predictor, which is a common tool used by a lot of min-max runs, and it tells you what's in the geodes. So I will break them all open, know exactly what's going to come out of them, and I'll use that to my advantage and get as many artifacts as I can. And if I can't get anything good, I'll get the most valuable thing so I can sell it to Clint. Or later on, I'll use it to get, you know, an ancient seed potentially, or I'll use it to get the correct skeleton piece for Ginger Island, or a banana sapling, anything like that. The predictor will allow you to do that. And that way you're not reliant on predetermined RNG, I guess. This was probably another thing that wasn't really worth the time expenditure. We do need to unlock the sewers relatively fast to start gifting Krobus and get the star drop, but it's not something that was so pressing that it had to be done today. But when your luck is really, really bad, it's kind of worth it to do stuff like this. Like there's definitely going to be days that you're not going to be making money, right? And that's just how it goes. Like this whole run isn't about just money. If this was just a money run, we would never open a geode at all because there'd be no value to it. But because we have to do everything, I don't know, it has some merit. It's just maybe not the right time for it. But it's what I decided to do. And there's Maro and Demetrius, which eventually they'll be easy because the 8 strawberry plants will give us more than enough gifts for them. And then Haley, of course, is very easy. She will be our flower dance target because we'll be able to get a ton of coconuts, and she will very likely be our marriage candidate just because her gifting is so simple, her schedule is very predictable, and she's who I usually target anyway, so that's what we're doing. And then we've got our final community center run of the day, which I don't think we're going to complete any bundles at all, but it's going to free up space in that chest and get some stuff kind of checked off. That winter foraging is going to be our biggest delay in community center, just because we'll need to plant winter foraging seeds in our greenhouse once it's unlocked. So that's going to be, well, potentially our biggest delay, assuming I don't screw anything else up. Fishing will be able to get done potentially, well, as soon as we get a rainy day in summertime, we'll be able to finish our fishing bundles. Because I think a red snapper will be our only fish holding us back, since we already bought a trout and a walleye. I don't know what I'm doing in here. I think I'm looking for something to throw away, so I can buy like salads or something. But anyway, so as far as our to-do list for our second week, we got everything done. Everything we had mentioned doing, we accomplished. And including stuff from week 1, which was just the burglar's ring and 80 in the mines. And even though we didn't get to the skull caverns in this particular week, everything's still going pretty smoothly. Assuming our luck is good tomorrow, we will be able to get right into the caverns, hopefully get somewhere around 400 or 500 iridium, and start making some actual money. If we can get around 500 iridium per run, we'll be in pretty good shape. That 500 iridium is worth about 150 grand. So we only really have to do that like twice to have enough for all of our starfruit seeds for the first week of summer. And that's where we're at. Once again, like and subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. Still doing once a week. I said Friday before, I meant Thursday, so they'll go up on Thursdays. See ya.